Well, just as you thought that we might be done with the wedding drama on this channel, a new situation comes along. And this situation has went incredibly viral. It originally started on Facebook with a post about I'll get into. It's made its rounds over to TikTok, and in fact, the person who's being accused in this situation has just recently, within the last 8 hours as I'm recording this video, responded on TikTok with her own videos. But let's go back to the start of this situation. So it all started with a Facebook post made by a bride complaining about something that happened at her wedding. Put a finger down if you recently had your wedding and the property owners were the host of your wedding, and so they allowed their daughter to come to your wedding reception wearing a white dress, a sash that said soon-to-be bride, and bride headband with her flock of girly friends, and they all unapologetically helped themselves to your vendors, taco truck, open bar, and guest entertainment, and try to be sneaky about it wearing wig. Putting my middle finger down. Okay, right. Straight away, the first part of this post seems like a pretty wild situation, doesn't it? Now, of course, we don't know the entire truth in this situation. It all depends on who you believe, right? Because we have two different sides of the story that are pretty different. But let's just say, hypothetically, this situation did happen, right? You would be fuming if the owners of the property, their daughter came with their friends, was wearing like a white dress and a bride-to-be sash with a bride headband, and just started like taking stuff from like the taco truck, using the stuff that you've paid for. Of course you would be fuming. And even added things saying like, try to be sneaky about her wearing wigs, like as if this is like a fucking secret agent mission or something. But like I said, do want to make it clear, I obviously don't know exactly what happened in this situation because I wasn't there, but hypothetically, if it did happen like this, yeah, this is a wild situation. It's funny, not funny, having wedding crashers who can positively contribute to your party. I've never heard of a bachelorette party crashing a wedding. Yeah, I haven't either. That doesn't sound like a good idea. I can post this video because these girls were evidently guests at my wedding that I paid for. Don't crash my wedding if you don't want to be called out. XOXO the bride. Disclaimer, do not mention where or who these girls are, as instead of reaching out and apologizing, they are trying to report the post because they are offended, which makes me feel very gaslit and even more sick. And in this post, she actually attached 2 videos. Now, I can't play the videos because the post is now being deleted. This is a screenshot from Reddit. But as we can see by this post, it's one of them like 360 cameras where you like stand in the middle and either it's like a turntable, it turns around, or the camera spins around, it does like a 360 shot of them. And yeah, there are some women wearing like wigs, and someone's wearing white with like a sash, it looks like here. And in fact, the bride of this wedding, Emily, has made a video on TikTok also talking about the situation. She starts off reading the post that we just read and then says this.
The wedding venue host has not reached out and apologized. All they ever do is block us and block my friends, my wedding guests, my husband, whoever else tries to reach out to them. This is really scary to post, but we actually really appreciate the love and the support because my whole purpose was that I didn't want this to happen to another bride. I've never asked her for a refund. I never asked to go to court. I never asked for anything. All I asked was for an apology and to admit that that was messed up. And I would say the F word, but I don't want to get the video taken down, so.
Okay, so as you just heard Emily mention there, you can actually go and see the reviews on Google. Now, the problem is, they've been taken down. In fact, if we go to the reviews right now, the most recent ones are 2 weeks ago. If we go to the lowest ones, which you would assume would be about the situation, or at least the most recent lowest ones, right? They're all from like 3 months ago of this other situation where someone's clearly not happy here, someone's clearly not happy here, and a bunch of text messages as well, but this is unrelated to the situation we're talking about today. But luckily, we do have a screenshot of one of the reviews that was left by the bride. It just says, worst experience ever, XOXO the bride. Simple review, but it did also result in a very long reply from the venue that says, I wasn't paid to be your event planner. You invited me as your friend. You took advantage of my kindness and used all of my space. Okay, so straight away we get a few more details here. Apparently, they were friends, right? The person who owned this venue and the bride. You talked me down on the price and invited me and told me I was invited as your friend. I have all our conversations. I will see you in court. You left my place a mess. Okay, so straight away, it looks like the owner is saying that we're gonna end up suing the bride here. I have all your messages and I have proof of what time you left. I let you decorate the day before, which no one will let you come over 24 hours in advance. I was more than kind, and you took advantage of me. I will save every single message that you sent me, and I have the invitation where you invited me. You did that because you wanted me to do everything for you at your wedding. I learned that after you left a mess and took everything that you could, even belongings of my... Okay, right. The lack of punctuation is kind of killing me here, I've got to be honest. Or not even really the lack of it, just in like weird places. But still, right, we get the point, okay? This owner is clearly saying that this is the bride who is the problem here, left the place a mess. The owner was in fact invited as a friend. There's no mention of the daughter in this situation, like the original Facebook post. But overall, clearly, the owner's not very happy here, and is in fact insinuated that she's going to be suing the bride because of this. And this situation was just going viral for a few days, right? But we still hadn't heard anything from the daughter, who was the one kind of being accused in the original post. Well, now we actually have. And it's this person right here, Natasha Garling, and as you can see, the most recent 4 videos are addressing this situation. Now, in the first video, she started off by saying that she needs to address this because her family have been portrayed in a dishonest way.
Hi everyone, I am Natasha, and I need to come on here because I've had a very unfortunate thing that has happened to my family and our family's farm, to where our reputation is being compromised in a very negative way and in a very exaggerated and untruthful way.
She then goes on to say because of the situation, she's been receiving a lot of hate.
But at this time, I am ready to tell my side of the story because I am getting so much hate, and I've never experienced cyberbullying, so this is happening to me for the very first time. And it's really sad that this stuff actually exists in our world.
And then we get to Natasha's side of the story, where she says that Emily, the bride, is a family friend, and she actually used Natasha's family's property for her wedding.
Leading up to Emily's wedding, she is sort of a family friend. My father actually rented to her at one point, and so she reaches out to my family because she wants to use my family's venue for her wedding space.
And then Natasha goes on to say that Emily knew that Natasha's bachelorette party was that weekend, and Emily invited Natasha to the wedding.
I had even spoken to her the day before her wedding, and she congratulates me on my wedding that I'm about to do the week after hers. You know, she knows that I'm having my bachelorette party that weekend, that she's having her wedding. She invites my mother and myself to her wedding. But I want to make it very clear that I had no intention of attending her wedding, because that wedding I actually had plans of my own, which is attending my very own bachelorette party.
And then Natasha goes on to explain why she was even at the property in the first place. She says that her apartment was above the property, so the only way that she could leave to go to a bachelorette party was going through a garage that was connected to the venue.
But what everyone does not know is where Emily is having her wedding, so where the venue is also where my apartment is attached to. So I have an upstairs apartment that the venue is below it. So there's no way that I can leave my apartment without walking through the garage that is attached to this event venue space where she's having her wedding.
Natasha then goes on to explain why they were all dressed up with like wigs and whatnot. She's saying it was because of a bachelorette party. They just dressed up for the bachelorette party, which fair enough, people do that, right? But as she's leaving the venue, she sees a photo op and decides to take a picture with her friends on this like 360 camera.
As my friends and I, we're leaving, we walk through the garage. There is a photo op at the exit of the venue space, and most of her guests are in the event room, probably enjoying dinner or whatever, because there were maybe like 15 people outside at the time. And we see a photo op, and of course I know a wedding is going on. Like, I wanted to make it really quick. I didn't even feel comfortable wearing the bridal slash or the bridal crown because I know there's a wedding going on. So I have the bridal slash and I have the crown in my hand as I'm walking out of my apartment. And at the exit space, and it's outside, like I said, most people are inside the building enjoying dinner or whatnot. And I thought it would be a cute idea to jump on with my friends on this revolving photo op. And I asked the DJ says, yeah, sure, jump on. Like, I only put the bridal slash and the crown on once I was actually on the prop, the revolving prop. Like, I even remember talking to my friends about how quick that I needed to hurry and just like put it on, once I'm on this revolving photo stand, because obviously, that would be so disrespectful, even to be around a wedding with a crown and a soon-to-be bridal slash. Like, there's a whole rack, right, of all these little props.
Okay, we get the point about the photo, right? So she's basically explaining that as she was leaving, she saw the opportunity. She said most people were inside having food and whatnot. There was about 15 people outside. She tried being as quick as possible, only put the sash and the crown on as she was taking the photo, and try to do as quick as possible. But I think it's this specific part in the story where it seems pretty unanimous that people think that she shouldn't have done this anyways, because it wasn't her wedding, especially when you add the context of her wearing like a white dress with a soon-to-be bride and a crown and whatnot. Maybe don't do anything to do with the wedding. Maybe get in the taxi and head to your bachelorette party. Now, obviously, where the big difference in the stories here is in the original Facebook post, we get told that Natasha and her friends were, like, eating at the food truck, using stuff at the wedding that was paid for by, like, the bride and the groom. And Natasha, on the other hand, is just saying, we just took a photo on this spinny thing and then left. And in fact, Natasha goes on to say that they literally did just take this picture, receive the video from the DJ, and then left. And apparently this was all done within 5 minutes.
We then get the video emailed to us from the DJ, and literally we're on our way again. Like, we're walking down the driveway to go get into our Uber, and mind this, the photo op is literally posted up in the driveway on the way out. So this whole encounter of me walking from my apartment through the garage up into the driveway where I get picked up from is like 5 minutes.
And that is actually where the first video ends, and this is where we move on to the second video, where Natasha starts off by saying there was no harm in her taking a picture on her own property, and says the only reason why this story is blowing up is because there's a dispute about a deposit.
You know, taking a quick photo with my friends on my property, there's truly no harm done to the bride or her guests on her wedding day. You know, the only reason that this story is even blowing up like it is because the only thing that the bride had against my family is it's over a deposit.
And Natasha goes on to explain that the bride and the groom didn't get their deposit back because the place was left a mess, and the reason why they got this venue cheaper than usual is because they said they would help clean up after and also the fact that they're family friends.
Emily doesn't get her deposit back because at the end of the night, my parents are pretty upset because the place was just left a complete sticky mess with the venue. And the negotiation and how Emily got a really good deal for the venue was that she and her people or her guests or whoever was there to help her, they were supposed to help clean the space up after they got done using it. And not only did they not clean thoroughly like they were supposed to, but we had tablecloths missing, we had some wedding decorations missing, which were supposed to be used in the following week because I was getting married. So my mom was a bit stressed about all of that. You know, she approached Emily through texts about these decorations, and Emily wasn't giving much feedback, or she didn't seem, you know, she didn't really care. And so my parents decided to keep her deposit, as they should, because they not only had to clean, but they had to replace certain decorations in a very short span of time for my upcoming wedding.
Okay, so again, we have two very different sides of the story, right? On the Facebook post, Emily is annoyed because Natasha and her friends took like a photo op, wearing a white dress and as Sasha said, bride-to-be with a crown and whatnot. Also took advantage of some of the stuff that was already paid for by the bride and the groom at the wedding venue. And then on the other hand, Natasha is basically saying that the only reason why Emily's making a massive deal out of this is because she's annoyed she didn't get a deposit back. And of course, there's absolutely no way for me to know what the 100% truth here is because, again, I wasn't there. But I can see why someone would be annoyed that there was this bachelorette party that came in, and even if it was just 5 minutes, like taking the photo up and using the revolving 360 camera to take your pictures while you're wearing like a white dress and whatnot, I can see why that would be annoying. But of course, one thing that seems to be up in the air is how long Natasha was there for and what she actually did when she was there. Like, did she just take the picture, or did she do some other stuff like use the food truck and whatnot? We don't know. Two very different sides of the story. Now, Natasha goes on to say that she wasn't just prancing around the venue like the post insinuated, and then she goes on to apologize to the bride.
There was no prancing around her wedding. I don't know where she came up with the idea of me at her vendors. I didn't even know there was a bar at her wedding. I didn't talk to her or see or talk to any of her guests. There was no dancing around. None of that happened. But I do want to come on here and apologize to the bride. You know, if she thinks that I did anything vindictive at her wedding, I do apologize to her if she feels that it wasn't fair, that she didn't get her deposit back. And everyone keeps coming at me and my family, you know, that we owe her an apology, which we've tried. My mother has tried countless times to apologize and to make things right because we care about our reputation. We don't want to ruin anyone's day, especially their wedding day. But there's only so much that you can do to try to make things right with people. But people, they choose whether or not to accept it.
Okay, so as just heard, she's saying that her mother reached out multiple times to try and apologize. Clearly, it seems like we're away from that now because judging by the reviews, I'm just assuming that it was the mother replying. It might not have been. But assuming that, it looks like there isn't any apologies anymore. And in fact, there's like legal action being threatened, really. So it looks like we're definitely past it at this point. But either way, Natasha then ends this video by saying that Emily is just over-dramatizing the situation.
Clearly, she's choosing to fester in this over-dramatized story that she's conjured up into her mind. But yeah, I'm not trying to spread any more drama. This should have never turned into such a dramatic case. But you know, that's my story. That's the truth. That's what's happened.
Now, the next two videos that Natasha uploaded is basically just talking about like the response and the hate. And she goes on to say that cyberbullying is never okay.
I just want to end on this, that bullying is not okay. And now that I've experienced cyberbullying, it's absolutely not okay how ruthless and cruel people are, and overall just completely ignorant. So if in any way you are the type of person to leave a nasty comment, aka a troll, think about how that would feel if someone did that to you, or said that to you, or said that to your mother or your child. I've had to delete a lot of comments because people are death threatening me. People are saying really nasty remarks about the way that I look, the way that I present myself.
Yeah, now of course, like I say in a lot of these videos, that is never okay if you are just leaving comments like just insulting someone. And to be fair, I did look through Natasha's comments and there were people who were just like insulting her appearance, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the situation. That of course just isn't okay by any means. But looking at the other comments in the videos where people are just talking about the situation itself, we've got people leaving comments like, what about the part that she said you guys were getting drinks from the open bar and food trucks? Natasha replied saying, it's not true. If that were the case, then I'd be in the wrong. Which kind of does insinuate that she doesn't think she's in the wrong. She did apologize in videos, but that kind of insinuates that she doesn't think she's in the wrong. I don't know. We've then got people saying, even if she was given a good deal, it doesn't give you the okay to use the amenities that she paid for. You should have just left and did your own thing. Just apologize without excuses. You messed up. Natasha replied saying thank you for the advice. Another comment here said, nope, as soon as you said I saw her photo op, nope, big no. Not yours to use since you weren't a guest. To which Natasha replied saying, don't judge, you do the same thing, I'm sure. I'm not sure about that, really. Again, another comment saying, this is ridiculous, you didn't feel comfortable but did it anyway. Think if this had been your event, how would you have felt? To which Natasha said, no one was even around, y'all drama for no reason. Yeah, I mean, she's saying there was no one there. In the video, she does literally say there was like 15 people outside at the time, insinuating that was around the same place that she took the photo. So I don't know, there seems like there's a few things that are not adding up. Maybe the truth somewhere in the middle, who knows? Like I said, we don't know the full truth in the situation. Maybe there are things that are over-exaggerated by both people, maybe there's not. Maybe one person just telling the full truth. We don't know because we weren't there. And there's not a lot of proof here. The only proof we really have is the parts of the story that do match up, and then the video that we've seen. That's all we really have to base it on. I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below of what you think happened. And yeah, that's the situation up until now. And if you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.